Hey y'all, Miss Old Jesse. I'd like to talk about morals number 11. Um, and I just kind of want you to think about this a little bit. God said, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." It's given in two places, and I wanted to do it a little bit later because it's the first repeated command. Um, once to Adam and then again to Noah and his sons. And if you're going to be fruitful and multiply as a human being, that can only really mean one thing: sex and babies. You know, and in biblical context, that means get married to a good wife, have a pile of kids. In order for the human race to multiply, just as a replacement rate, you have to have more than 2.1 children per adult couple, right? So that accounts for death rate, premature mortality rate, and stuff like that. So, in order to at least multiply some, not very much, you have to have 3 kids. And we live in a time in humanity where, like 100 years ago, they thought they had the earth filled. Well, it's not exactly the case. The earth still has a lot of wilderness areas, and it's not filled. And what does it mean to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth? Well, I think the reasonable thing for Jews and Christians is to have more than 3 kids. There's going to be folks, because of their personal life choices, that disagree. They'll be like, as long as you have a kid, you're fine, or you don't have to have kids at all. This is a command of God that was given twice to the human race as a whole. Not just to Christians and Jews, but to everybody. Like, this is a thing, like, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or you're Jewish or you're atheist or agnostic or pagan or something else that is undefinable. You still have to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. With that comes, like, okay, well, there's certain life choices that don't support that. Celibacy is one, unless you're being celibate for moral reasons. An example of that is the Apostle Paul was married to a wife that was a Jewess, and, well, she didn't convert to Christianity, so the story goes, and, well, he was celibate for the rest of his life. So there's that, right? He could have divorced her and got him another wife, or forced her to come with him, or what have you. Or, some of these fellows in the Old Testament that they got raided by, Israel got raided by enemy, and they got their balls cut off. There's nothing you can do about that. So consider this as part of our religion. One of our moral codes is to have a bunch of kids and raise children as an inheritance to the Lord. That's what they're called. They're called an inheritance to the Lord. Children are a good thing. Wives are a good thing. For women, husbands are a good thing. Like, you're not asking for something wrong if you want kids, or if you want a wife, or if you want a husband. I mean, if you're a man, you want a husband, that's a different story. Or if you're a woman and you want a wife, that's a different story. And it goes without saying that, like, you know, certain relationships between same sexes, or, you know, bestiality or what have you, cannot procreate. You can't fill the earth like that. So, like, one of the problems with a lot of the modern thinking is that these what do they call it? Alternative lifestyles. You know, like, it's not really alternative. It's just like, you know, not the right lifestyle. these unrighteous lifestyles. Yeah, that's the way I want to say it. Unrighteous and sinful lifestyles are you know, these are good too. But the reality of it is at the core of those lifestyles, they cannot procreate, and so they're disobeying a command of Yahweh Hich to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. There's been plenty of empires in the history of the world, and it's been documented that when homosexuality increases, so also increases government corruption, and then within a generation or less, that empire falls. And the reason why is because the birth rate falls. And so the next adjacent empire that is not adopting those same unrighteous practices ends up taking over and conquering that really large empire within, you know, 100 years or less of it becoming a thing, of the whole immoral lifestyle thing being a thing. And this is something that was taught for a long time in the history books, for like hundreds of years, until like late 80s, you know, 70s, 80s, when it started to be erased from our history books. And it's a true thing. History repeats itself, but now we're watching it happen to the entire world. So what's going to happen if you're not being fruitful and multiplying, filling the earth? Well, the population doesn't stagnate, it decreases. Okay? So instead of trying to maintain two houses, you can only maintain one, or what have you. So what we're going to see is all of humanity go from what we consider first world countries all the way back down to third world countries, because of our inability to take care of the cities that we've built, because of population decline. So, and a lot of folks are like, well, you know, just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't have kids. Well, strictly speaking, if you're actually homosexual and you're not bisexual, no, if you're homosexual, you cannot have kids. The reason why is got nothing to do with medicine. It's because you physically can't procreate. Now, if you want to go the medicine route and pay, you know, $25,000, $50,000 or more for a little bit of whatever, you know, then you're only talking about a lesbian couple being able to do that. A male homosexual couple cannot do that, you know. At most they can adopt, but when you adopt a kid, you're adopting a child from somebody that's either straight or bisexual. Okay, so homosexuality cannot have kids on its own, not without intervention. And you know, I'm not advertising for the unrighteous bisexual lifestyle, because I think that's absolutely morally corrupt, and it's evil and it's wicked, you know. So my my perspective on that is like, hey, be a heterosexual, be straight. Boys marry the girls, girls marry the boys, you know. Um, be godly human beings. Stay together, have a bunch of kids. Teach them truthful things, righteous things, wonderful things. Have a good time. Spend time with your kids. Smile. You know, like, show them everything there is to love about life. It's worth it. You know, and it's not boring. Okay? A lot of people are like, oh, you know, I'll get married and have kids and it's going to be a boring, miserable lifestyle and I just want to do fun things and blah. What in the world makes you think that having kids isn't fun? Have you tried it? You know, if you go into it thinking it's going to be bad, it might be bad for you. But a lot of times you're going to get surprised and you'll be like, man, these kids are a racket. They're fun, you know? So I don't know what to tell you about it. Like the whole children thing and loving kids and doing fun stuff. Like, this is a command that is fun to fulfill. As a straight white man, you know, like, I enjoyed having kids with my wife. Both the process and the kids afterwards. Like, that is fun. Teaching kids is fun. Watching little ones grow and learn new things in the world. You can't get a better joy than that in life, you know? And so, like, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth, and don't regret it at all. You know, like, I told a gay man one time, because of the stuff in court, I was like, he was like, well, I want to tell the story I want to tell. And I said, you know, the stories that you homosexuals tell and make up, and the sanitation that you do to change the history books to tell the story that you want told, it's not going to last. And he goes, what makes you think that? And the very simple truth of it is homosexuality can't breed. Okay? There's a reason why straight white people, or straight people, have ruled the world for centuries. It's because we're the ones that can procreate. Okay? And that's not to say that, you know, like, other ethnicities can't. They obviously can. And that came out a little bit wrong. But, you know, like, there's this whole anti-straight white person thing in America. And, well, I have a problem with that because, you know, it's destroyed me. I can't even get a construction job, and I grew up doing construction, you know, and it's like, all right, well, whatever. So consider that, you know, like, think about that when you're planning your young life and you're going out there and you're doing things, and consider how to keep your children the way you love them. Don't let your kids do things that you don't like. You know, like, it's simple. Like, if you want them to be religious, teach them to be religious. If you want them to do good and to do justice and be kind, or if you want them to act a certain way, well, then don't let them act a different way. If you don't want them influenced by the internet, well, then don't provide the internet. You know, these things are choices that parents get to choose for their children, and it is because we are told to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. It's our responsibility to make that happen. You know, and with that comes, hey, don't let your child get involved in something that might cause them to die. Like, don't let that happen. Like, really, don't let it happen. You know, like, don't let them go get involved in the goth community and become this depressed kid and, with thoughts of suicide. Don't let them get involved with the homosexual community or the transgender community, because the suicide rates, and again, you can look this up on Google Scholar, the suicide rates in those communities are by far and away much, much higher than they are in the straight community. So think about these things. We're supposed to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Part of that is us living our lives to the end and not committing suicide. And part of it is simple procreation. All right, y'all. If you got any thoughts on that, leave some comments, whatever, I'd like to hear what you got to say. If you like what I had to say, give it the old thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.